Okay, we are live. We are live, and I sent out an email a while ago, and hopefully, folks received that. And it is a special 5:30 start time, and it is 5:30 as we speak. So, and the lovely Lady Brianna is here in the house,
Hello,
and
hello.
we're going to talk about the Bond Stunner, the Bond watch that Rich got. Rich got a Bond watch
Triforce.
and that's right. Let's go ahead and show that picture. And there's James Bond with the watch, and that's the watch in question. It's a titanium stunner. It has no date. It's relatively thin, and he says it's very comfortable on the wrist. We're going to dive deep into this and see what's going on. Kyle is in the house. Sleeve says hi. Sleeve is in the house. Have we seen Sleeve before?
We haven't.
Cool. Sleeve is in the house, and Kyle's in the house. He says, "Hey guys," and did you share this or not?
I
You didn't
didn't.
share it. Okay. So so Bree is all yours, guys. All yours. She didn't share it with her followers. Jason's in the house. He says, "Hey everyone,"
Hello.
and yeah, we had some discussions with Jason too, and we're trying to convince Jason to wear the 002 stunner. To wear the 002 stunner.
I forgot mine.
We're trying to convince him that life is too short.
I forgot to wear.
You better go get it. You better go get your
Okay, okay.
stunner.
I get it,
There's
get
no
it.
excuse for that. Go get your
I got my
stunner.
Apple Watch though.
Live TV, folks. She was working out just before the show, so she was wearing her Apple Watch for the workout. Kyle's in the house with either James Cameron or James Bond on wrist. We love Rich. But I'll tell you, I really think the Bond watch is the way for him to go. I think it looks better on wrist. I think that James Cameron was silly, and it's silly on most wrists. It would probably look great on Carlos's wrist. Carlos is in the house. He's got a tree trunk of a wrist. So a huge watch would look normal sized on him. He says, "Hello, Bree, Craig, and all." And so Bree's got the stunner now with the purple
Oh, it's like gold.
stingray.
Well, this is not gold, but like beige color, and
Yeah, it
then
goes with it really nice. It goes with it really nice. That whole outfit, that whole ensemble does nice things. And we also had a conversation, folks. If you, I can't forget the stunner, be that purple stingray. Okay, so here's the thing. We had a discussion earlier about quality. We were talking about quality and how sometimes you have to seek out quality items these days. Sometimes it's not that easy, and sometimes there are brands that built a reputation on quality. Brands like Timberland for the hiking boots and boat shoes that they made back in the early '80s. They built a name for really having some high quality stuff, and then they went all to crap when I guess they sold out or whatever. Same thing with Banana Republic. Same thing with Patagonia, North Face. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so sometimes you just have to seek out
quality has
the
gone.
really high quality stuff. And I'm coming to the conclusion that some of these big operations, like Jason and I talked about how Filson was bought out, right? And they used to make some pretty good stuff back in the day. And I think you have to go to the small makers now. And we talked about the leather shop. I sent them the link. Can you pull up the leather shop, their website?
Leather
And we
shop.
talked about Colonel Littleton. Go ahead and pull that up also. And these are small operations where they're still hand making some really high quality items. And I think that's where we are today, where we have to really seek out some folks that are making some really high quality stuff. Like I found the gentleman that made this Bitcoin signet ring for me. I found him in I think he's in Washington State. He's on the West Coast,
Seattle.
and I think so. And he made this for me. He does the work all himself, and at a fraction of the cost that some of the other big jewelers that you can get these made would have charged. And I think he did probably better work. So that's what we need to do. We need to seek out artisans that can make the things that we want. Okay. Carlos is in the house. He's got a question here. Without considering the price, I would get Rich's new Omega over the James Cameron. Oh yeah, absolutely. And price really shouldn't come into the discussion when you're choosing your gear or your items or your clothing or your watches. It should be all about quality, in my opinion. Okay, so let's go. Let's show this.
The leather shop.
This is a perfect example. These are made by the leather shop. These items you're seeing on the screen right now, extreme quality.
I
The
have
the
one.
the leathers that they use, the hardware that they use, the threads that they use for the stitching, the way they reinforce any of the areas that might pull loose with rivets, brass rivets. The whole thing is just over the top quality at a fraction of the cost you would pay for some designer brand of bag, right? If you were to get like a Louis Vuitton bag that was made this well, which they're not anymore, but let's say you went back in the day and got a Louis Vuitton, uh, you'd pay probably 4 or 5 times the price and probably not even get as good a piece. So, and show Colonel Littleton, show his website. And here's another example, Colonel Littleton, who is in Tennessee and hand makes these items. Go ahead and click on that, the grip, the number 5 grip, click on that. Yeah, right there. He hand makes these items down there in Tennessee and just extreme quality. And again, if that was a designer bag, if that was like a Gucci bag, scroll down and let's see that next picture. If that was like a Gucci bag or something, it would probably be 5 times the price, right? Now, don't get me wrong, these aren't cheap, but I'm just saying if you bought a designer version of the same thing, it would be significantly more money and you're probably not going to get the quality.
Oh look, Lucchese. Or
He's
ostrich.
probably got, yeah, those probably are Lucchese's. I wouldn't doubt it. Let's
and
see.
the carpets that we have here.
There you go, an Oriental rug. So look here. Is Bree wearing anything previously owned by Craig? Yes.
What am I
The
wearing?
038. I owned the 038.
Yes.
I bought it from Japan. I imported it from Japan. That stunner right there. And then Blue bought it from me. Then Blue traded it at Little Treasury. And now the Breester has it, and that's where it stays.
That's where it's like the Bitcoin.
It's not, yeah, once it gets in her possession, she has a strong hand. She's going to hold.
It's like one-way valve.
Yeah, it's a one-way valve.
Yeah.
Leather Shop and Colonel Little are legit. That stuff is super nice. And Bree, do you ever turn up the heat when Craig isn't looking?
Maybe.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
Bree's watch strap looks stunning on camera. Carlos
Thank
in the
you.
house. Jason in the house. It looks stunning in person, I can tell you.
It does.
Where is the man of the hour? We want to see the new titanium stunner. Yes.
Yeah,
where is he? Reach out to him. Inquiring minds want to know.
Zello.
Where is the superstar? He's not there. And so I like the hipster style of those bags. I wouldn't really call those hipster. I'd call them more classic designs. So maybe he's trolling us. Maybe Carlos is trolling us.
He knows.
Why don't you do this?
He knows
Bree,
quality.
why don't you find a bag that you really like on this one and we'll show it.
Calling tree, your presence is requested.
There we go. I've got to turn.
Channel, your presence is requested urgent in the channel, over.
So they can hear through the iPad.
They can hear it. Yeah, so that's why I had to turn this down because I didn't want to get feedback. They can hear that. That is the Watches app. Let's go ahead and show this, Bree. Camera 2. This is the Watches app, and you can monitor on Zello, Zello. You can monitor the Watches channel. It's simply called Watches. So you install the app on your phone. It's available on iOS and Android, and you download the Zello app, Z as in zebra, Zello, and then you can add the Watches channel, and then you can get in on all the fun here. You can chat verbally. You can share photos. There's a photo of a Banana Republic bag that I shared earlier. Here's another shot of it. That is a vintage Banana Republic bag back when they made really high quality stuff. And actually they sourced items from all around the world. Banana Republic safari shirts, bags, all kinds of really cool stuff. A lot of it was made in the USA. Some of it was made in India and other places like that. But they did a great job of sourcing things. And then, of course, they got bought out and everything went downhill from there. And the Banana Republic we have today is nothing like the operation that was operated by a couple, a husband and wife in San Francisco, originally operated it. Okay, let's show that. You like that one, huh, bag? That bag?
It's out of stock. It's out of stock.
It's out of stock, though.
But I like it.
It's canvas and leather. See, most of his bags are all leather, but that one's canvas and leather.
Convertible backpack.
And looks kind of cool. So you can use it as a, show all the pictures. You can use it as a
shoulder strap
or backpack.
Backpack. It's kind of like mine, the one that I got.
That is really neat. Yeah. Now, which do you like better, this or yours that you got?
I don't know. I think mine.
Yours would probably last longer because it doesn't have the canvas.
Right.
The canvas is going to fail sooner than the all leather.
Right.
But that's neat that he does that. And so you got some, some versatility there.
That's cool.
So I guess it's buffalo leather and canvas.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Made in America.
Yeah, in Tennessee there. Yeah. Look here. They shared a Panerai. Go ahead and say he shared the Panerai. He's got it. With
the new strap.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of that. Get rid of the Panerai. Okay, so all right, let's get caught up. Can you send me the link, Craig? He's not on the list. He's not on the email list.
We already emailed the link.
Go ahead and let's get the link and send it. See if we've got his individual email. You're going to have to send me your email. Triforce Rich, if you didn't receive it, you should have gotten an email.
I'm clicking. I'm typing list? Rich and doesn't.
Why don't you check
come up.
the list? Pretend like you're sending an email and do live and see if he's on there. See if he's on there. You recognize anything that looks like him?
Oh, it looks like he's not.
He's not.
He's not.
Okay, so why don't you do this? Why don't you go ahead and get the email up on here? Or actually, you can do it on my phone. Get the email up on here. Go to the sent mail, get the link, copy it, put it in the watches channel. Okay. More than one way to skin a cat. Triforce Rich, you've got to send us your email so we can add you to the live show list. So you're on that email list. It looks like you're not on there. Had a call in a minute, had a late call. No worries, no worries. Mr. Bond has arrived. Carlos in the house. Have you seen? Oh, by the way, we can just put the link right in here.
There you go.
I'm just going to put it right here in the chat.
We'll put it everywhere.
Okay. That's the link, the StreamYard link you see there in the chat. That way, and it's also on the Watches channel. So take your pick. And he just sent an email.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so go ahead and respond to that, and also go ahead and add him to the email list. Jason's just crying.
No, that's laughing.
I know Tree's email. It's tutor
lover.
Yeah, looks like Rich is coming in. Look what we got. Look who we've got in the house. It looks like we got the Richter. Let's put him side by side here.
Okay.
Hello, my friend.
Here's the watch. That's what you guys want to see, right?
Pivot around so you don't have as much of a shadow on the watch. The shadow of the phone coming on the watch.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's looking good. Let me make you full screen. Hold on a second here.
Solo.
Stunner alert. Stunner alert.
Oh, can you get in? Is there any shade available that you can get in total shade?
Yeah.
The sun looks good, but
that would help with the shadows.
But yeah, we've
got a lot of shadows going on.
We want to see the watch.
Okay. Yeah. That's looking better. And pivot your hand around so that we can see the underside of the watch as well.
You can see it here. It's about as bad.
Yeah, get closer.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a super trim watch. There you go. It's
Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so what's the report on the comfort factor so far?
So super comfortable. It's in contention for the most comfortable watch I've ever owned. No question about that. Um, you need to wear the watch for more period of time to figure that out. But I slept with it last night to give it a go. There's a strong chance I'll say it's the most comfortable watch I've ever had.
So it's
Super.
right up there with the Oyster Perpetual.
The
I thought
Explorer,
you
you
have an
mean?
Explorer.
Yeah.
You have an Explorer, right?
Yeah, it's right up there. No, you know what? Actually, I wouldn't even say the Explorer is the most comfortable watch. I would say the Day Date, the 36 millimeter Day Date was the most comfortable watch I've ever owned prior to this one, and this is right up with there. So I would say it's more comfortable than the Explorer.
Wow, that's
Um,
saying a lot.
yeah, it's yeah, a lot of misinformation about this watch online. So I can't see the chat, but if anyone wants to ask me any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Um, as far as wearability, I know a lot of people ask that. It doesn't wear any different than a 40 millimeter modern Submariner or the new 41 millimeter. It's the exact same. So the fact that it's a 42 millimeter, it doesn't really matter. Um, I've owned that watch, so I know for a fact it's the same. And so, and because it's so light, and by the way, Craig, it is lighter than the Snowflake. It's only 95 grams. It feels like you're wearing a small dress watch.
Wow, it's actually lighter than a snowflake.
Yeah, by 5 grams. It's lighter than a
Holy
Snowflake.
cow.
Yeah,
That's
so
insane.
it is insane considering. I mean, look at this bracelet and kit.
It
The
looks
whole
very
design.
robust.
There you go. And you can see the thin, right? Is
Oh, yeah.
that a thick watch? No,
It
not
looks
at all.
heavy duty.
So it's a
Bree said it looks heavy duty.
it looks heavy duty, but it feels super light duty. That's for sure.
But you get the impression by looking at it and by feeling the bracelet and everything that it could take a lot of abuse.
Um, do I get the impression that it could take a lot of abuse? I know it'll take a lot of abuse, but it doesn't feel like it could. I mean, that's just it. I'm not used to titanium. It feels uh,
But when
like I
you're
said,
using the latch and the mechanisms and all that kind of stuff, it all feels like it's robust, like it's well made.
yeah. So it's got a dual lock system there. So it's not going to come loose. You have to hit both triggers, and it snaps in place. So it's got the same function that, let's say, a Submariner would have or your watch would have, where it not only clicks in place, which has it closed, it locks in place. So it's a double lock mechanism. So it's not going to go flying. And so yeah, it's wonderful.
And it doesn't feel like that bracelet is over time going to fail in some way. It seems very well made.
It's funny you bring that up. So originally, when this watch came out, the bracelet absolutely was going to fail, and so what they had to do is do a recall for free, and they redesigned and fixed the one flaw in the bracelet. Excuse me, and then re-released it. And so my
What was
watch
that
doesn't have that
flaw?
issue.
What was that flaw that they fixed?
I don't remember the exact details. I didn't own the watch at the time. I think it had something to do with the clasp possibly failing, but I know it's been fixed. And funny enough, I know some people in the Bond community, um, they chose not to have theirs fixed because they think it's a collectible, because I guess Daniel Craig in the movie probably wore the watch that had the flaw, ironically and
Oh,
enough, because
jeez.
and so these people have opted to not have their watch fixed. So hopefully it doesn't go flying one of these days, but there's that.
Wow. So from what you're looking at now, from operating it and putting it on and off your wrist numerous times and wearing it and so forth, you don't feel like there are any weak points at all.
Weak points as far as the watch, or weak points as far as the durability of the watch, because it's
Well,
two different questions.
as far as the bracelet, the watch, anything failing, any failure at all, it feels robust to you at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can go on and on about this. That I've been critical of Omega and versus like the whole Rolex versus Omega debate. Um, but now that I have this watch, I can say that the gap has been really close. Like ultimately, if someone asks me, well, what's a better watch, a Rolex or Omega, I'm still going to opt for Rolex. But I think that the margins now are very slim, but the price difference is absurd. So take my watch out of the equation. It's not a cheap watch, but a normal Seamaster, you can get those used for almost under $4,000, or for sure under $4,000 on a good deal. And a Submariner is going to cost you what? Somewhere between $13,000 to $16,000 for a stainless steel. That's crazy. The Submariner might
And
be the better
what's
watch,
the
but
what
by
what
a little.
what is the used market like on this Bond watch that you just got?
On this, it
Yeah.
sells for people price it even used around the same price as retail, so it doesn't really lose value. The cheapest I've seen it sell for maybe like $8,500.
Okay.
And so it was a situation where, you know, I can't reveal price or whatever, but I got this new from Steve cheaper than I would have bought this used from anyone on any deal, even a private sale. So
Kyle wants some more close-up shots.
okay, Kyle. Well, let's get this right. Boom. There's the watch. It's super thin, as you can see. Which again, it's how you design a watch. They've layered the thickness into multiple layers, whether it's hiding through the bezel there, the dome crystal, the case back. And so it gives this appearance that the watch is super trim on the wrist. I was shocked. It appears like a flat, super trim watch. And yeah, I could absolutely just sneak this under any cuff I own and wear it if I wanted to wear it that way. So very cool. The overall design of it is it's really, I think it's an awesome thought experiment on taking a watch that exists already and saying, okay, well, if Bond wore this, what would he want out of it? And so you have this lightweight nature, you have the matte tones and everything. So I wouldn't recommend this watch to everyone for sure. I think that there's better luxury watches with better polishing and finishing and kind of just the luxurious element of a watch. But for someone who's been in the watch hobby, if I had to describe this watch in one word, it would just be the word different. That's it. It is the
Well,
most different watch.
it seems like it's all about function. It's all about, you know, wearing it, telling the time, being very legible, not having reflections off the watch to give away your location. You know, it seems like it's about they just thought about function.
A lot of people are complaining about legibility or the light reflections on it because it only has AR coating on the inside, not the outside. But
It's more
I
than
don't know.
Rolex
I
has.
wonder if people actually use this stuff. I really do beyond like a 15-minute review. Also, as far as legibility, it's Kyle, brace yourself. I'm putting my neck out there. It's more legible than a Submariner. So I can tell you that it is, having owned a Submariner for 2 years and used it every day pretty much. So
Let me see the dial again. Let me see.
I don't
Well,
know
yeah,
that.
even with the reflections that are coming off of the screen because of, you know, all the lighting and everything. Yeah, I can see where those indices are very, very easy to spot. Now, the only thing that I would change on that watch, if it was up to me, is I wouldn't have the skeletonized hands. I would have solid hands. But, you know,
Um,
some people like those hands.
if it was up to me and I was designing it as well, I would put Omega Hasm, which is the military hands that are on the Mill Sub, as well as military spec Omegas from back in the day that were actually issued to the British military. They design it just like you would. From a functional point of view, that's the better decision. And from the aesthetic point of view, I actually agree. It's the better decision. So I'm surprised that they didn't do that, but I think they just wanted to keep the Seamaster DNA. Probably a little cheaper to produce this way. And but what they did interesting with this, I don't know if you can tell here. Let's get that there. They blackened the titanium hands. So what's going so that's what really helps with the legibility as well, and the contrast, because people, I've even seen in reviews comment, oh well,
Those hands titanium?
those hands are titanium, and
Wow.
they're fine. It's probably the most impressive finishing detail in the entire watch is the hands. So what they've done here is they finally, and you have to see macro macro shots to appreciate it. They finally brushed that and then they blackened it. So it's created an effect where it is actually really legible. And again, online reviews, people are like, or people just commenting online on the forums, trashing the watch, would be like, oh, if it was a real military watch, it would be white and black, like a traditional watch, because that's
Mhm.
just way more legible. And
Yep.
maybe that's the case, but um, I have gotten the time right just glancing at it multiple times, just trying to test it out before coming on this video, just to see, is this really real? Like, can I always check the time at every angle? And yeah, I can. And like
What
I said,
about in low light?
yeah, no, it's super easy. It's 2:55 here, so it would be 5:55 your time. There you
But I
go.
mean, in lower light situations where it's getting dark and all, is it
Oh, I
still
see what
pretty
you're
legible?
saying. Well, I mean, yeah, I can read it, and then if I can't, the loom kicks in. What I can say though is, one flaw, and I have to test this again and see how it holds up over like a week. Because of the skeletonized hands and the limited loom placed in it, it is hard to read the watch like hours into the night. Like I woke up last night, I looked at my watch, which sucked because the hour markers and the bezel and everything else about the watch was still loomed and I could
Mhm.
absolutely read it. And I'm like looking for the hands, which is like,
Gotcha.
you got everything right. The loom is great. And actually the loom is probably technically better than Rolex's loom based on what I remember by just a slight margin, which sucks that if this is, maybe it was a one night thing, I'll report later, but um besides that, yeah, it's a real treat. It's something different. But like I said, I really honestly couldn't recommend it to everyone. Actually, I probably wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people. If that, even though I like the watch a lot, I wouldn't recommend it for a lot of people.
Well, first of all, it is expensive from a standpoint of buying a different Omega instead, right? Like you said, you could get a nice Seamaster for probably half the price. So
Less
there's
than half the
that.
price. Practically speaking, if we're talking about not retail prices, you can get a UC Master. Let's say you get it out for 3,800. You're not gonna find this watch. I mean, you can go online and look what it is. It's going to be 2.5 times the price. So we're not, like, practically speaking, it's night and day. It's not just the price thing. I think it's more that if someone had the cash and they were going to buy a watch, and this was one of the ones they're considering, I would try to talk them out of it in the sense that, like, are you sure you want a brushed, matte finished titanium watch with very matte finishing and utilitarian look, that a watch that's been designed, you know, to replicate a military piece? And what people have to understand is military watches, right? They may sell at an auction now because, a rich guy is willing to pay hundreds of thousands for one. But when they were manufactured, these are utilitarian, right? They're not meant to cost thousands and thousands of dollars as a luxury watch. So to have a watch that, retails at almost $10,000, to take elements of utilitarianism and that literally, um, you have to really weigh it. Like, is that for you or is that not for you? But of course, it's going to be the people who just buy the watch because they love James Bond, and that's the only reason they want it. It's the Bond watch, and they're going to get it. And good for them. Happy for them.
Well, and they do have the benefit of it has no date. It's nice and trim on the
Yeah.
wrist, like you said. The bracelet is interesting. You seem to think it feels comfortable. And is it also relatively easy to adjust the bracelet?
Super easy. All you do is it has a. So let's see if I can get this. Can are we getting that? No. Well, I'd take it off if I had three hands or whatever.
Mhm.
But anyway, the clasp system, it basically, you pop out the outer part of the clasp, and there's a little hole in there for it to slide in, and you
Mhm.
just pick which hole you want to stop at, and you click it right in. Super seamless. It's not a system that's made like a glide lock or a or something on your Grand Seiko or any of those type of systems where it's meant like, oh, throughout the day to be adjusting it. you find a size and you keep that, but it's really easy to get to that size when you want to just put the watch in.
And what is the adjustment between the sizes? Is it like 2 millimeters or 3 millimeters? Or...
No, it's got to be bigger than that.
Yeah.
I couldn't quote. Don't quote me on it, but it's bigger than that. Every size is more than just like a micro adjustment for comfort. That's why I'm saying, like, I doubt that I'll adjust the watch throughout the day.
Lance is
unless it's like crazy hot and my wrist is swelled up intensely, I'm not going to mess with it. But we'll see when
Lance is going to join us here. Let me see what we can do.
Speaking of Mr. Bond, look at this handsome guy.
Oh, thank you.
How do we make it just the two
Nice
of them?
glasses.
Do we do?
Thank you.
But we don't want to remove us.
Speaking of glasses, Craig, can you guess what I'm wearing? I took these out just for you.
Oh, that's interesting. The glasses, are those the ones that fold up? That I forget what they call the name of those.
It's the Persol Steve McQueen, the turtle shell ones. We've talked about it on the show. So,
but those are bigger than the ones he wore, though.
No, I just got a small face. I think they're the same size.
You really think so?
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but these are literally the Steve McQueen ones. I don't know if they replicated exactly, but I got these as a gift, so I don't know the details. If I had bought it myself, I'd probably be more, in tune with what it is. But these are the Steve McQueen ones. It has the packaging and all that stuff.
Where is Lance?
I am in Florida right now.
Wow.
What?
Well, congratulations.
Crazy.
What part of Florida? Don't give just give the general area.
Yeah, I'm in Jupiter.
Jupiter. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. How long are you there?
I'll be here until Saturday.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Rich about the Bond watch?
What's the size on that?
It's a 42 millimeter,
42?
and 20 millimeter lug to lug. 20 millimeter lug width. That's another misconception. For some reason online, misinformation spread that it's 21 millimeters in between, and they had changed it. Anyway, it's 42 millimeters, Lance. It wears just. Have you ever worn a new sub? Did we lose him?
We might have.
He's freezing up. What is
Could
this?
we show
Craig?
this?
Yeah, what is that watch?
Lance is in the house.
Kyle Jett just posted that. What is that piece? Does anybody know what piece that is?
Is it a Rolex?
It looks like a Rolex. Looks like the case looks like the shape of a Rolex. I can't tell. It's a little blurry. Anybody know what that was I just showed? Anyway.
But it's Brett's.
Whose is it? That's
He always
Brett's?
got gold stuff.
You think it might be Brett's?
It is from Brett.
Oh, Brett posted it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, there goes
Okay, we
Lance.
need details on that too. What
Yeah,
is
Lance,
that
while
watch,
I have
Brett?
you, so what are the watch plans? Are you still like, now that you're in college, you're mingling, having fun, are you still like, do you have a set watch goal still, or is watches kind of in the background?
Yeah,
For
so
watches.
watches with me. I'm still doing everything with like the watches. Sometimes I'll stop into some stores and I'll try to, because I have like a little hobby on the side where I flip watches.
Cool.
And yeah, so I don't have anything currently for sale right now, but I usually, what I do is I kind of just, if I have any free time, I'll stop into some like the thrift stores or something like that, or in antique shops, and I'll take a look at what they have, and then I kind of see if it's worth buying and putting like time into fixing up, and then I'll sell it for a profit.
Are you still in the market? Not now, but whenever, like one day, do you still want that Rolex? And if
Yep.
so, what
Yeah,
Rolex or what's the dream Rolex here?
Right now, I'm looking for it's a Rolex Submariner pre-ceramic, no date.
Okay, solid
So-
watch. Although, I won't go on about it. I have my personal opinions about the older Rolexes and how much they cost relative to the quality of what you're getting. But that's a solid
Yeah, but
choice.
that'll change when the market crashes. The price will come down if he waits
Well-
for the market to crash. Hey, Lance,
Yeah.
are you in the Watches app, the Zello Watches app?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Because can you check out the photo of the gold watch? It
Yeah,
looks like it
hang on
might
a
be a
second.
gold
Yeah.
Rolex. What?
Oh, he had to get out of the.
Oh, he had to get out in order to. What? And I guess you can't check it, Rich, while you're still
No,
on.
I'm on my phone. It'll kick me out of this.
Okay, so we're trying to get some more information about this gold stunner that that Brett shared.
I'm on the app, but I didn't see any watch.
Okay,
You probably
yeah,
were logged out or whatever, so you don't see
yeah.
the screen.
Oh,
Okay, so
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
bring it up here on the screen. Can you guys see it?
Hello?
Can you guys see it here in the show?
I mean, I can sort of see it,
I
but
can't.
it's blurry on
I
my
hear you.
screen.
Yeah, I don't see the crown there at the top. I don't see the crown.
Brett, please proceed to give further information about the proof of life that you recently sent. Over.
Yeah, we need more information from Brett. We need more information from Brett. I don't know what this thing is. I can't see the crown, the Rolex crown on there, but it looks, the case and all looks legit.
Cheetown. Oh.
Cheetown in the house. Okay, show that. Look at what Cheetown's showing. I don't know what that's about. Is that one that he grabbed? Did he grab that watch? Come on, guys. You can't just share things.
That's my
without,
old watch. I'll tell you that.
You can't
That's
just
my old Pepsi.
Yeah, you can't share things without telling us what the story is, guys. So, Lance, are you stacking
Oh,
BTC?
thoughts.
Kyle asked.
Thoughts on this watch, Craig?
Oh,
what do
Cheetown
you
said
think?
thoughts on the watch. Well, yeah, I like a Pepsi. Yeah, I like a Pepsi. I wouldn't pay what they're going for these days, but I'd wait for the crash. Lance, are you stacking BTC? That
I
was the
can't hear
question.
anything. I think that and there's trouble.
Oh, you know what it is, Craig? The Zello app. The Zello app screws
with,
everything up with sound, and it ends
in
up
audio.
just. Yeah,
can't
someone
hear
needs
anything.
to tell him through Zello.
So he needs
that
to close the
he needs to
Zello
close
app.
Zello, yeah.
He needs to close out the Zello app. Yeah.
Close Zello.
Hello?
Just put. He's in. He can probably hear through Zello. Carlos, just talk to him in Zello and tell him to close the app.
Yeah.
I guess he
He
did.
just
He left.
Lance, you need to close your Zello app and then you'll continue to hear us on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
Did not grab
Did
it.
not
wanted
grab
to
it.
know your
Wanted to know
thoughts.
your thoughts. Okay. I mean, it's a stunner. That is a Rolex. Look at the crown. The coronet is on the crown.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
I
talking about
saw that.
Brett's.
I
I'm
saw the
talking about
coronet on the
Brett's.
crown, but I didn't see it on the dial. That's what was concerning me. Rich, do you have any issues with the bracelet pulling your arm hair?
Not really. That was actually a concern of mine. I was like, oh, this is gonna happen, right? That's a sign of a really crappy bracelet, and I've had to deal with those. This watch is fine.
So no issues there. So is it how much have you been wearing it since you got it?
It hasn't gone off my wrist aside from taking showers and then
And
putting
do
it
you
back
feel
on.
like it is becoming more comfortable as you wear it? Is that bracelet breaking in and getting even more
Actually,
comfortable?
surprisingly, I thought it would take weeks or whatever, and it is slightly broken in already. So that's a good sign. I'm happy about that. And then as far as accuracy, I know that's very important to you. I can confirm it's plus 1 second a day,
Good.
which
That's
is
as good as you
fantastic. That's as good as I could hope for. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And you'll have to wear it a while and see how it settles in, because the first day or two is not, you have to wear it and see. If it's like that still after 3 or 4 weeks, then yeah, that's good.
I mean,
Have
hopefully
you
it should
worked
be.
out
Huh?
with it? Have you
Have I
worked out
worked
with it on?
After this, like I said, I finished up my last call. So after we're done with the show, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out with it and give it a go and see how it is. And so if it starts pulling my hair and it starts getting uncomfortable, then we might, maybe I'll have other bad things to say about it. But for now, just
Bree, did we
Some
put those
cons.
pictures up on Flickr of us working out with the gold watches? Are they up there?
Let's see.
I don't think we did we? We should probably put them up there.
Of us working out.
Yeah, they're on here. They're in my camera roll. So go ahead and upload those.
I
Good.
couldn't imagine
Okay.
working out on a leather strap. I
Let's do an
really,
upload,
I
and
really
I
couldn't.
think they're both still in there.
Having trouble with the audio. I'm going to try to call back now.
Okay. Yeah. He has to have the Zello app turned off. He hasn't channeled that yet. Let's see. Purchased on with the hype and happened the same to me. I gifted it to my little son, Carlos, in the house.
Lance, the channel change is approved. Over.
Any trouble turning the bezel? Oh, here's a question, Rich. Do you have any trouble turning the bezel with wet hands?
Yep. So that's so the bezel action on this watch is 100 times better than that Brosnan Seamaster, but still far from perfect. And yes, I have tried to turn the bezel with wet hands, and it was annoying. From what I hear, the bezel will break in over time and get a little easier, but it's just the reality. Craig, maybe you appreciate this. I think they designed this bezel in mind to be worn under a shirt cuff rather than necessarily being a professional diver, because it really was designed as like a sort of modern gentleman's dive watch. You know,
They
Pierce
don't have
Brosnan.
that coined edge around it that make it easy to turn.
Absolutely, and so
Like on the 231 is very easy to turn because of the coin.
So like what I would say is a truly designed dive watch. I think that the Seamaster Professional disc watch is the one I have in particular is a truly designed utilitarian watch, but you never see Bond dive in it, right? Daniel Craig has never dove once. I think the watch is designed in a different philosophy. The 231 is absolutely designed to be a dive watch. The Submariner, to a certain degree, is designed to be a dive watch, and I think this watch is a diver.
Jason says, after a day, what are your thoughts on wearing it with a suit? I don't think you wore it with a suit yet, did you?
No. He's asking that because we had a back and forth discussion. I would wear it with a suit. I'm not one of these people who get upset with like divers with suits at all. In fact, I've done that a million times on my own. This particular watch is, I don't know, it is so muted and utilitarian looking, and grays and browns are like the main color scheme of the watch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the best idea. I'll wear it with the suit and then I'll report. Maybe I end up loving it. I think that the standout feature of this watch is that mesh bracelet, and that's what would catch people's eyes if I wore this with the suit and it popped out. And I think that sort of matches my style because I like to add a little flair to what is fairly conservative. So we'll see. I'll give it a go.
Okay, so I got another question here for you, Rich. Do you prefer the Sea Dweller 43 or the Seamaster Planet Ocean?
Oh, not even a question, Chi-Town. The Sea Dweller 43. I think that the Sea Dweller 43 in particular, if you have a 7+ inch wrist, is probably the best all-around watch that Rolex makes. I adore it. I'm not talking about the day date. I'm talking about like all-around like sporty piece.
Carlos says that watch would look great with a suit. There you go.
Everyone seems to be saying that, so they might be right, and I'll do it, and I'll try it out for fun. Craig, you probably don't agree with that, but
No Time to Die would pair well with a pair of Bill's khakis. Okay, so
Lance is back.
So here's the thing. Of course, with a suit, you want to wear a gold stunner, something like this, something like what I have on the wrist right now, a gold stunner. And
first of all, it's your problem, Craig. All my belts have silver metal coloring, and all my cufflinks are also in that tone. So if I wore a yellow gold watch, but you always say, oh, the problem with rose gold is then I have to replace all my stuff. If all my stuff is steel colored, it goes together. So
yeah, so you're gonna have to get a nice belt with a nice brass buckle. That goes great with 18 karat yellow gold. Show this picture here. See, this is what we wear when we work out. You see that when we're working out? That's what we wear. That's the gold stunner during the workout. And Bree, do you have the picture of you working out? And there's Bree working out, and she's
Damn,
got her.
she's going up in weight, and she's got
She's got
working gloves on.
yeah, she's got her gold stunner there, and those are plainsman gloves. Those gloves are for
They're like
people
gardening.
working on the
I
plains.
have occasionally seen a couple of people wear. I'm not a. I mean, she's doing that at your house, right? I presume, or at her
Mhm.
home, which is
Yeah.
fine. But I see some people go to the gym with those, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that gardening gloves. But I don't wear any gloves personally. If you want to know why, Bree, for you, it's fine. You want to keep those hands delicate and nice. Craig, I avoid gloves because it takes the natural resistance out. And so in practical function in life, whether that's, I don't know, you talk about martial arts occasionally, something like that, or actual real life strength, you're not always wearing gloves. If you get used to gloves, it's going to take your functional strength away. And so I could wear gloves and lift more weight and have less pain, but it's going to hurt me. For Bree, I totally understand why. I mean, you
Well,
want
it
your hands
depends
looking
on
nice.
it depends on what you're doing, and yeah, you don't want to get dependent on things. That's for sure.
And
But
Craig, you do have to acknowledge that maybe I work out a little differently than you and Bree. So if I wore a leather strap and an 18 karat gold watch, I presume it wouldn't go off as well as it does for you
no,
two.
I don't think you bang your watches around when you're working out. I mean, back when I was younger, when I worked out in the gym and all, I mean, we're throwing weights around, we're doing all kinds of stuff, and I'm not banging my watch against the weights. I mean, I just don't do that. And that's the other thing I don't
I don't
get.
do that either, to be honest. So
I don't get it. All these people say, well, I'm always banging my watch against door handles and against this and against that. And I'm like, well, what the hell? Are you some kind of freaking klutz?
get a James Cameron, and then you might.
I mean, I don't.
You might
They're
realize why they have that problem.
I mean,
that thing is a door handle.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I can count on one hand the times that I bang my watch against things. It just doesn't happen that often. Now I will tell you, when I was photographing the cattle auction, and I was reaching in between the poles of the fence that they had the cattle inside the fence, and I was reaching through to get the camera through to shoot, without having to shoot through the poles. And there were several times when I did bang the 231 against those poles. And I thought at the end of the night that I was shooting, I thought, man, this thing's going to be really banged up, because I did bang it several times on those poles. I was trying not to, but I did bang it a few times. And I got home and I couldn't notice anything. I didn't notice any additional problems for the watch. It held up fine. So
it's
but
the
that was
same
the only
thing.
time.
You know how you always talk about, a ceramic bezel can shatter. The way that happens is, for example, in a diving context, is if there's a very, very pointed sharp rock, and that apex of that point hits the impact of the bezel, it's going to create the strongest force and the shatter effect, and that's what can shatter a bezel.
Absolutely.
And so the reason I bring that up is
coral reef, you bang it up against something
yeah.
like that.
It's very, very uncommon, but it can happen. But the reason I bring that up is that, with watches, there could be times where you slam the thing and you think, oh my God, I have just put the biggest dent in. And you look at it, it's like nothing happened. And there's other times where it just hits unluckily at like the worst angle and a sharp impact, and there's a ding or a scratch. So, you never know. You really don't. By the way, Fred,
Jason came up with a point. He says only the 231 can survive impact underwater. The 231 is just in a class by itself, and it's really not fair to compare that watch to other dive watches or other sport watches, because none of them come close to the overall quality and the functionality, the accuracy, the durability of that piece. It's not really fair to compare that, for example, to a Submariner or an Omega or really any other watch under the sun. So we probably shouldn't do that going
Craig,
forward.
is the
We probably shouldn't
231 a
even compare
monoblock
it.
design? And the reason I bring it up, so it doesn't have any sort of helium escape valve. I know that, but like the Seiko Marine Master is designed in a way where even though it doesn't have a helium escape valve, it doesn't need one. You could saturation dive with it because the movement is actually put on from the front instead of the back. So you can't actually open up the case back. You have to open up the watch from the front.
That's right.
Is your watch like that, or is your watch
It's really
just,
thick too. No,
Yeah.
mine is not like that, and the watch is thicker
Greg, what are you
which
going to do when someone takes you hostage and you're on a mission? You got to say Bree, and you have to go saturation diving in a diving bell. Your 231 is going to be toast.
that's probably very likely, and I would probably be
There you
toast
go.
too. So, yeah. Oh, Cheetown says the easiest way to shatter your ceramic bezel is by dropping your watch. So he says you can shatter it by dropping it.
You drop your watch, you're going to have many problems besides just your ceramic
I actually
bezel.
dropped the 231 once, and it wasn't a problem.
Where did you drop it on, like cement and concrete, or like on the
It
grass?
hit it actually hit metal. It hit the what happened was on this camera here, this camera shot here, that is on like a bar stool, like about, let's say, 4 feet off the ground, and the camera is pointing at it.
Mhm.
And I bumped it, and it fell off the bar stool, and it hit the base of the camera is actually being supported by a microphone stand that has a heavy, like, iron base to it so that it doesn't get knocked over. And it literally hit that iron base, and I could hear it. It was like a bell ringing, right? Ding, And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done to the watch, right? And I examined it. I really didn't find anything noticeable wrong with it. But I have since wrapped a towel around the base of the thing that's holding the camera. I wrap a towel around it most of the time so that if I accidentally drop the watch, it'll hit that instead of the base of the support. And I'm trying to be careful not to bump into it and knock the damn thing off, right? I mean, imagine if the 002 was on there and I knocked it off. But that only happened once. But that's how these things happen, right? That's how mistakes happen. They only happen, once. And then you close the barn door after the horses fled. Megan, you should contact Craig. I'm sure he can help you get guidance. So does Megan have some kind of issue we have to help her with? And Carlos says,
Many issues. Many.
I'm getting close to selling everything and going with the 002-231 Craig combo. We'll carry them around in a custom Colonel briefcase. Colonel Littleton briefcase, I think he means. That would be a good move, Jason. That would be a very good move. And put the rest of that money in Bitcoin. That would be a good move.
Bitcoin.
What are you thinking, Lance? What are you thinking about Bitcoin lately? Brett says, "Hey all, Brett, we need more photos of that watch in the Watches app, that gold watch." Lance, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin lately? We can't hear him.
I see Shy Town's question. Do you own any Rolexes? Yes, I have one
can't
watch
hear your
that
audio,
I
Lance.
strongly hope to hold for the rest of my life, which is the Explorer 1 39 mil Mark II. I love that watch. Still my favorite watch.
Brett says Rolex is the only brand to own for the long run, in my opinion. Just so long as you can afford the servicing costs, there you go.
I think everyone who's into watches should own at least one Rolex. If you're a watch person into watches, at least have one. And you know what? I think Bree will one day own a Rolex. I'm going to call that out here.
Why not step up? But why not?
She's going to own a Rolex one day. Look at her. She knows it too. She's going to.
Why not? But why not step up?
Bitcoin
why not step up to a Grand Seiko right away? Why go through the torment of owning a lesser watch when you can step right to the Grand Seiko?
Do you want?
Well, you have variety. You can have variety.
Bree says variety.
Look,
so you guys have brainwashed. You guys have brainwashed Bree now.
No, Bree's always wanted a Rolex, Craig. She hasn't been too shy about it. She's wanted one. That, you know what? I've never seen Bree's eyes light up more about a watch than when she saw that purple dial gold Rolex. Even I thought that was a money watch, and I'm like, oh, that's the watch she wants. But you didn't step up, Craig. One
fella says Grand Seiko is not a good long-term one. Exactly. Rolex is. I don't know. Grand Seiko's, I think they run decades without any issues. So we're going to find out. I'm going to find out because hopefully I will live decades and then I'll be able to report on it. I can't say anything now because I've only had one for 5 years. The diver is going on 5 years now. So I haven't had any Grand Seikos for decades. I did have Rolexes for decades. The last one that I sold, I had almost 20 years. That's 2 decades. For those of you in the blue states that can't count. But I'll have to report on that in another 6 years, once a decade has gone by, then I can say it's good for a decade.
Craig, you can understand. There's a little more about a Rolex than just the check boxes that you would like about a watch. There's a little mystique and stuff that people enjoy about it as well.
That's okay. Brett says my AD called with a Sea Dweller today, two-tone. Do they make the Sea Dweller in two-tone?
Yeah, I actually see that watch. It's usually almost always a big guy. Guys are like 6'2", 6'3" plus who want a precious metal big diver, and the sub is kind of dating on them.
But that's the purple
definitely
one?
not a watch for Brett, and I don't think it resells for that much over retail, if anything. So careful on that one,
So
Brett.
Bree,
big
that's the watch that Bree has an eye on. So for those of you that want to know, that's the one.
Yeah,
And
that's
Brett
sick.
said he passed on the two-tone
Yeah, good move, Brett.
watch.
Carlos could rock that watch. I could totally see Carlos with a two-tone Sea Dweller.
I personally don't care for GS when it comes to sport watches. Rolex is a sports watch brand. To me, GS more of a dress watch brand. Well, once you get an 002, that's right. You really, everything else is kind of like passe. Seiko has zero brand equity, garbage. What does he mean by brand equity? Does he mean they're not a good investment?
Yeah, well,
So do we
he's
have to
talking
have this
about
whole discussion?
Yeah,
Watches
how much
are
of
not
the
good
value
investments,
of the
fella.
watch is driven by the brand name. Like if you have Rolex on the dial, that's going to make the watch worth a ton more just based on that.
So fella, just to educate you a little bit, watches are not a good investment. So don't think of them as an investment. Think of them as a timepiece, a luxury item to wear. If you get lucky and you end up, coming out financially okay on the watch, that is an anomaly. That's not normal. Most people lose money on watches, and that's just the way it works.
Sort of.
Out of curiosity, what's your opinion about BTC, fella?
Fella.
I owned the two-tone Sea Dweller for over a year. Very cool. Okay.
Wow, Jason. Jason is full of mysteries. He's owned a lot of stuff. He just doesn't always talk about it. Two-tone Sea Dweller. That's a beast.
And Brit won't pay over retail. That's a good move.
Yeah.
The big question is, how did fella get a wrench? Oh, he's got a wrench? Oh well. Somebody
But
gave
Brett,
him a
you know how
wrench.
these things work, right?
Somebody.
They offer you
Carlos-
this watch. They
That was a
expect
nice
you to
guy.
buy it to keep the relationship. So that's the game, right? So
Say
they're like,
again? Say again?
with what drives a lot of people to, like, for example, have a great relationship. I think Brett has a decent relationship with his AD. Well, when they offer you a watch, let's say like a two-tone Sea Dweller, that's not necessarily a hot watch. By buying that watch, it puts you up the food chain, the VIP food chain, which means that when the time comes when you want a hot watch and your name's on the list, they'll look to you.
Well, then why did Brett pass on it?
That's what I'm saying. Well, he didn't want the watch. Brett
Well,
is
can't
also.
he still flip it?
Yeah, I think that. I don't know. I don't want to quote Brett something. I imagine he could get all his money back literally and break even if he just flipped it. And so if I was in Brett's position, someone who has a relationship with an AD, maybe I would have just bought it and just given it to my gray dealer at cost just for the relationship with the AD. So then I can get, whatever it is that I want.
Cheetown says only caring about brand names is how Louis Vuitton gets away with making junk quality tote bags for big markups. Yeah. That's exactly correct. A lot of people are willing to pay for a name.
I don't know. I've talked to women about this, Craig, just because of you saying that LV has gone down in quality, and I don't know about certain stuff, but they say it holds up pretty well, and they abuse
Oh
it.
my God, they've been brainwashed too. Then
maybe, I don't know.
That canvas that they use for the, that has that Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, the women
on
I'm talking to don't have the canvas bag. They have the leather stuff.
Yeah, most of them have the canvas. Most of them are canvas and leather, and that stuff doesn't hold up. And even the leather that they use is not particularly durable leather. It's not veg tanned leather most of the time. It's
I don't know.
It's
Louis
not
Vuitton,
even close.
I've never owned anything from Louis Vuitton, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's not even close to the stuff that you would get from the leather shop, for example. Not even in the same.
How about
ballpark.
Gucci, Craig? You like Gucci a little bit.
I had a couple pair of Gucci loafers. They're comfortable. They're not as comfortable as some other moccasin style construction shoes, but they're stylish. They look good. They look good with like a blue blazer and maybe some khakis, something like that at the polo club.
if
But
Lance had a pair of Gucci loafers, just the classic black ones, or maybe let's say a nice variation of red, like a darker red, maroon type thing, and he was at his local country club with his parents, he's wearing a nice blazer, you want to knock him for it. You want to tell him, you look good.
yeah, no, they're nice. There's nothing wrong with them. I just wasn't wearing mine that much. I have other shoes that in my opinion are better, and so I was wearing those. Let's see. Cheetown says, stay away from the Louis Vuitton plastic coated canvas wallets. They wear terribly over time.
I've
Yeah, they
heard
fall
that one.
apart.
Okay, so I've heard that one about the men's, like the cheaper entry level men's stuff. But I have you've seen my wallet, Craig. I have a Gucci wallet, which price of it a bit too much, bit ridiculous, but the quality, it's held up over time great. So
Yeah, I mean they can. I mean, but you can buy like an Amish made wallet that's made out of a
I don't
really high
disagree with
quality
you.
leather
Yeah.
that is going to last forever. That's going to cost like $70 on eBay.
No, I look, I'm not saying
You
that it's
can
worth the
even get,
price. It's just
you,
not crap quality. It's very good quality. It's not
yeah,
necessarily worth
you
the
can
price.
even get wallets made of like American alligator, right? For reasonable prices now. That's the really neat thing about all these craftsmen now that are direct selling items like that, right? Leather made stuff
Etsy,
that
great
they
place.
just go to the extreme as far as quality. Some of them, not all of them. Okay. You got to be picky, but some of these guys are really good. You'll watch their YouTube videos and you watch how they do it and how they burnish everything and all the detail and they use the highest quality. See, that's the other thing. Nowadays they use really high quality polyester thread or nylon thread, right? Many years ago, high quality luggage was stitched together with linen thread, and that stuff will rot. And so that's why you see some really cool, like old bags and all that are coming apart, that the stitching is breaking apart and stuff because the threads failed, right? So some things are actually better now than they were back in the day. Some things they actually improved on, and the thread is one of those things.
Or
But yeah,
clasp on certain watches.
you can get some really good stuff if you hunt around and you find the right maker. You're not going to have that Louis Vuitton name on there. You're not going to have the Gucci name on there, right? But you're going to have a better quality item.
I'm with you. Look, the vast majority of stuff, I just want the quality to be there, and then if it's clothing, the fit and finish. So the only thing that's, obviously brand, my watch says Omega or my watch says Rolex. Okay, you can't avoid it, right? There's no one who makes a watch the quality of like a Grand Seiko, Rolex, or Omega or whatever that doesn't have a brand. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There's some things where you have to buy a particular brand, but I mean the Grand Seiko is a perfect example where they're still flying pretty much under the radar, and the prices are, I think, very good for a lot of the watches they sell, especially since you can get them at a discount. You get a lot of watch for the money. I mean, if you buy a 231, for example, I mean, you can buy that watch all day long for $5,000 used, right? In great shape, $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of watch for the money, any way you look at it. And that's a watch that you'll literally be able to wear decades and probably put no money into it, zero money into it, and wear it decades. So that's a lot of value for the dollar if you want a heavy use sport watch.
But you can appreciate not everyone loves the design, right? It may be every bit of a great watch as you claim it to be, but not everyone's going to like the hands or the size or.
Well, they've got a lot of other choices. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of Grand Seiko. There's a ton of choices, and a lot of them are
choices when it comes to divers.
Well, you don't have to buy a diver. I mean, look at the titanium stunner that Kyle got for like
not disagreeing.
I'm just saying,
particularly with their sports watches, I have issues with their all-arounders and their dress pieces, or like your 002, which I'm a fanboy of that 002, by the way. You know how much I like that. And so I think they can make an amazing top tier watch. It's their sports watches, like Chi-Town said, where I not the biggest fan.
Well, even some of their dress watches need attention. I mean, they've got some dress
Yeah.
watches that are marginal too. They need help. They need us to help them out. And who was it that volunteered? Me and Kyle. Yeah. Kyle and I are not volunteering. They'd have to pay us, but we're willing to go to Japan for 50 grand each. And they have to fly us out there, pay the expenses per diem and so forth. 50 grand each. We would spend a week, a solid week with them, and we would redesign their entire line, and we'd get rid of a lot of watches, first of all. And we'd come up with maybe 6 core watches that are available in different sizes with different dials, and we would solve the entire problem. We'd solve the bracelet issues, everything. We'd work out all those issues in 1 week. Rich, 1 week. And I think you said you'd come along with us.
Yeah, they wouldn't even have to pay me. They just have to cover my expenses and hotel, and then maybe throw in one of the watches I designed. Here's a question for you, Craig. If let's say we're going to turn, what you're suggesting is kind of turning Grand Seiko into more of a Rolex model where they have these core iconic models. Aside from the Snowflake, let's say you think of the 002 as their day date, sort of, right?
I'd call that just a dress watch. I'd design a different watch to compete with the day date.
So is there any other watch aside from the Snowflake that you would consider to keep as part of this sort of core 6, or are we going to have to just go to the design table and make these watches? Like,
I'd even make some changes to the Snowflake. I would change the entire line. I would change the entire line, and I would have, like, for example, they use those sword hands way too much. I would have different optional hands and optional dials.
Sword hands?
Yeah, the sword. Isn't that what they call the hands that are on the 002? Isn't that what they call the sword hands? The pointy hands?
Okay.
Anyway, whatever you call them. They use those on most of their watches, right? I like them. I like them on the 002. They look great. They're classy looking, all that. But on a lot of the other watches,
the needle hand. Okay, you're talking about the classic Grand Seiko.
A lot of the other watches, they don't work. You need a wider hand with loom on it. There's a lot of changes that I would make, and I would give optionality. Like when you buy a Datejust, there's a bunch of different dial possibilities, right? And there's even on a day dates, there's even different hands. Like you can get hands with and without loom, right? I mean, there's different options. So that's what I would do is I would have a core product line, and then each item in that product line would have like different case sizes, just like the day date does. They got a 36 and a 40, right? I'd have different case sizes, and I'd have different hand and dial combinations and different bracelet combinations, just like Rolex does. I mean, there's a reason why Rolex is successful. I mean, why not just do the same freaking thing, but even have better designs than Rolex?
Well,
even
Jason
take it up another notch.
They basically, Grand Seiko, what they're doing now is they're leveraging their designs rather than just making a one-off piece that they've traditionally done. They're really leveraging their design, like let's say the birch, and then coming out with the same watch in different dials with different movements with adjustments. And so we're seeing a situation here where, Grand Seiko, and they come up with a nonsense story of how this relates to some artistic or Japanese nature, which, you know what, that's what I appreciate about you, Craig, is you never talk about that stuff because it's just marketing.
Who gives a rat's rear end? Yeah, what if the snow inspired
some of their
me.
stuff is beautiful, and I can see it, like the Kirizuri. It absolutely is what they're saying it is, but some of the other stuff, it's just nonsense. Sometimes where they just change the color of the dial and they come up with an excuse. But the main point I'm trying to make about this is that that's what they're doing, right? So they're going to release like this birch in 10 different colors by the time we're done with it, and so that's the direction we're moving in. You don't need to put all the effort to make something sell.
Rich, we wouldn't really have to. There would be a lot of changes, but it wouldn't. Nothing that we're talking about doing should be difficult for them to do. We're not asking them to crawl through fire, right? I mean, there's nothing here that's that difficult to do. Now, some of the things like make the cases thinner, obviously we can only push it to as far as their tech will allow, right? But we want to make them as thin as possible. And
Yeah,
some
sure.
of the watches, that might mean that they no longer have a display back. They just have a solid back, right? I mean, that's fine. I mean, we don't have to have a display back on all the freaking watches. Um, it's about optionality. If somebody wants a watch that's a millimeter thinner, and we can gain that by getting rid of the display back, then we make it a millimeter thinner, and we give them the option. Okay, if you want the display back, it's available with that as well. They
I think
already make a ton of different models, so we're not asking them to do anything they're not already doing. We're just saying, let's clean up the product lines so that it's not as confusing, so that you have a particular watch and then it's just available with different dials, different hand combinations, maybe a couple different bracelets, in that way, and have the ADs stock the freaking bracelets so that if the guy wants the different bracelet, the AD can just switch it. What the hell's the problem here?
But hey, let's give Steve some credit here. He does stock bracelets; it just sell out so fast. But I have even talked to him where he's had something available. So he tries to do his best. And I'm sure the boutiques, I don't know, maybe you have to order them there. But every time I've gone with Kyle to the GS boutique, which is their flagship store here, and they've got everything under the moon there. You're just gonna have to pay retail for it.
Yeah. Craig, your ideal business model for GS sounds more like a bespoke brand idea. Not really. It's just similar to what Rolex is doing with, the Datejust is available in a wide variety of dials. I don't know. Don't they have different hands on them as well? They don't all have the same hands, right? They just, do you know, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, Rolex is moving more towards the options and the different stuff now. But if you look back on it, they were very, very conservative not too long ago, and so now they're branching out because it's more of a hype thing. Because if they they've realized all they have to do is release a special color, and people go nuts for it, and it creates this
Well,
hype.
but wait though, back up a second.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could get a date with all different kinds of dials. Back when I was buying them 20, 30 years ago, you could buy a Datejust with different dials. You could buy a GMT with the all black bezel. You could get one with the Coke bezel. You could get one with the Pepsi. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There
no
was a lot of variation even
yeah,
back
but
then.
back in the day, you had so let's take the GMT for example, which is definitely in the core flagship of Rolex, and so back in the day, you could get let's go to the most. I'm going to go to the period of time back in the day where they had the most. So you had the Coke, you had the Pepsi, you had the all black, you had the root beer, which came in two different options. There was two different root beers, and then you had them in two-tone and all yellow gold. So, and then today you have the Pepsi, you have the all black is coming now, you have the Batman, and then you have the Meteorite dial, you have the blue, white, gold one, they don't make two-tone anymore, or yeah, the root beer is two-tone, and then they have the various all gold ones. So I don't know if it's that much different, but
Yeah, I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is we don't have to, it wouldn't have to be totally insane updates and changes. It would just be some sensible things that a lot of people have been asking for years, and also kind of just trim the line a little bit as far as not have quite as many SKUs, right? And my God, not as many limited editions. It's just getting ridiculous. With so many limited, Steve
why
likes
they
them
release so many
because they
limited
sell out.
editions? They it's the same thing with they sell out. It's as simple as that. If they
Yeah.
if they want to meet margins and they want to sell 250 of a product, or 500 of a product, and they want to sell it within 24 hours to a couple of weeks, they slap on this limited edition, they market it exclusively to a GS club or something else, and they make it happen, and it sells fast. It just is what it is. Omega got caught up in the same thing, and then they pulled back. but they were just falling into the trap that this was the easy way out. Luckily, you can say for Rolex does make limited editions. They just don't call it limited editions. That's the reality of it. The Meteorite, Pepsi, it's not a gimmick. They barely come into a store, right? This thing is genuinely uncommon,
But they weren't numbered like one of
no, of course
500.
not. But it
all that
doesn't.
kind.
It's the same thing with my Bond watch, right? You're not going to go to a Omega boutique and they have 5 in the back that they're hiding, right? They get one once in a while and they display it and then they replace it or whatever. So even if it's not numbered, right? They're not making unlimited amounts. They're controlling it. They're manipulating the market.
Yeah, Jason said they sold out the green birch last night in an hour, and it won't even be available until September.
Was it sold out, Jason? I saw this morning it let me click pre-order, and I was just looking at it out of curiosity. So maybe it wouldn't have let me check out.
Carlos says, I've heard Rolex is releasing the Whiskey Master. It'll be an epic release. All
That'd
right,
be good. That's your demographic.
We've been hogging your time for too long. Thanks for coming on and helping us out with this stunner, this Bond stunner. I think that it was a good move. I think you did the right thing. I think it can be a rugged, heavy duty use
from the right place.
Yeah, from Little Treasury Jewelers. I think it can be, and link is in the description. I think it can be a heavy use watch for you, literally for decades. Literally for decades. What other stunners do you have right now other than this one?
I just have the Explorer. That's it. I'm not buying another watch. This watch, funny thing, you say decades, it will fade over time. Omega has confirmed that both the bezel and the dial are created with future patina in mind. So we don't know. They haven't revealed how it'll end up looking. Maybe they don't even know. As far as that, yeah, just 2 watches, Explorer and this Bond, and that's it. I don't need any more watches. And a G-Shock, which I'm
that
going
seems
to,
like a very good rotation for heavy use. Yeah. And the Explorer is even thinner than this watch. So the Explorer arguably would be better as an all-arounder / dress to use for dress, but you could force this one into that role as well. So you've got 2 really versatile watches there.
Yep, that was the idea of it. I wanted to have they both do slightly different things, but I wanted to have 2 watches that I can be comfortable just rocking in any situation, and they give me something different, but at the same time I enjoy it. So
yeah,
so I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for having me on. Thanks, everyone. Hey, I'll talk to you guys in Zello.
Yeah. Hey guys, you can find Rich in the Zello app. That's where you can find him, in the Zello app. That's a great 3-watch rotation, slim, trim, and nothing superfluous or redundant. And the patina on the Bond watch will change from piss yellow to poop brown. Okay. I'm waiting your proof of life because of the Panerai issue. Okay. We can't end yet, Rich, please. Okay. So how come we didn't have any more photos of that gold stunner from Brett? What happened there?
I don't know.
And
he probably forgot.
Let's show the stunner that you've got your eye on. Can we show that again? Here's the stunner that the lovely Lady Bree has her eye on.
It's
Go ahead and shift to that.
Like a dream watch or
excuse me. A Datejust 26 mil shiny purple diamond watch. Okay, so that's what she likes. She likes that purple dial on the Datejust, the ladies' Datejust, 26 mil with diamonds, diamond dial. That's pretty nice, Bree. You like that?
I do.
You would use that at the beach?
Yeah.
'Cause you can swim with that.
Anywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, you can swim with that. I like it. That would be good rotation with your dress watch stunner.
Yeah. And it's gold, so.
Steel and gold. Yep.
Steel and gold, so it's great. With the faux pay, like, oh, same price as a faux pay, a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the ladies' faux pay was less money than that.
Wait,
The
is he talking
ladies'
about
faux pay.
this? Bree, show us your new strap on the macro.
Well, we don't have a macro, but we got pictures, Bree. We got pictures on my. Don't we have pictures on my Flickr? If we don't, we should. Don't we have some close-ups?
We do.
Craig, will you dock some BTC from Bree for unauthorized use of the AC? We'll have to look into that.
The
All
faux
right.
pay.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. That looks pretty good. Show the other one with the buckle. Yeah, zoom in on that. Yeah, that strap is amazing. And in person, it looks better than that picture because it catches the light. It kind of sparkles.
It does.
When she turns it, it kind of sparkles. You can see there it's sparkling a little bit.
But it sparkles more in person.
Yeah, in person because the light is playing off of it.
There's Craig.
There's me in my cold weather gear, ready for the cold.
Today was so windy.
Yeah. Oh boy, I'll go yawning again. Okay, we got to eat. I'm hungry.
We've been streaming for like 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
Hour and 20 minutes right there's the timer. The upper left-hand corner.
Okay.
there.
One.
Yeah,
and
we
30
started
minutes.
late.
It feels like.
And so I'm warm and comfortable because I've got my Lucchese vest on and I'm wearing a camel hair coat. Camel hair. So yeah. But we got to eat. Let's see.
We gotta eat.
Call in Carlos. That strap work has been a great move. Okay. Micro shots of the road rash. Oh, when they drop kicked her watch onto the pavement.
Holy shoot.
I mean, it's like this. It's like, oh, this is a beautiful gold watch. Let's see how it holds up on the asphalt. Wham! I'm standing there. I'm about 15 feet away, and I heard it hit the asphalt. I heard that poor little watch bounce off the asphalt. And here's an 18-karat gold stunner being drop kicked onto the asphalt, not onto the grass, you understand.
It was like
right onto the asphalt.
The highlight of the event.
And I'm like, and these people are saying that you can't wear these dress watches, that they're soft as butter and all this stuff, right? And meanwhile, this thing's being drop kicked onto the asphalt.
It has a few scratches, but it's just like a patina.
And Bree's still wearing it, and it's still running.
Bad.
It's still running. Craig needs to do the Bill's khaki booty shaking dance. I already did that. I ain't doing that again. I ain't doing that again. I'm done with the Bill's khaki booty dance. Do you want to show your outfit before we end?
Yeah.
And what about your webpage?
Yeah.
You gonna do both?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's gonna show her outfit. There's Bree's outfit. That's a nice top. Where was that made? Who made that?
Oh, this top?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh.
Can you see?
Let's see here. It's well made.
Wait, oh, this?
This, yeah. It's nice. I like the stitching on it. I like the fabric. Where did we get that? Did
GW store.
You get that at the GW store? I like it. I think it's cool. It's mostly cotton, right? Is it 100%? 97% cotton, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Classy. All right, we're going to wrap it up, guys.
Well, you picked it up.
Look at this. 18-karat GS butter stunner. I'm still in pain from the little treasury drop.
Is he in the chat? He's not in the watch channel.
No. Lamont is in the house. Didn't Lamont get a wrench? That's a good question. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I'm hungry. I start getting hungry, I get mean.
Hanger.
Look, there's a private chat here. Look at that.
Oh, that's Lance.
Yeah.
He had some audio issues.
He was using the private chat. All right. Thanks, everybody. Oh, show your website. Briefitdance.com. You'll find
Perfect
all her links there.
dance.
And there's the link for the Zello app. The Zello app, see here? So that you can get involved in this fun. See the fun, how they share photos and everything?
The fun.
See how cool that is? Zello, Zelllo, Zelllo. Create a free account and then follow the watches channel. Add the watches channel. It's watches. Okay, just as simple as that. Add the watches channel, and then we'll go from there. Thanks everybody again for watching.
See ya.